Hi, my name is Dan Smith. I wanted to make a short little video discussing a feature request that I have for Isotope RX. This is a feature that I've been requesting for a few years and it's gotten some attention, but I think it should get more. So I wanted to show it because discussing it doesn't really show the true power of it, and so I think making a video would be helpful. So what I've been wanting for years and would use on a daily basis if I had it would be the clone stamp tool that is found in Photoshop. You know, RX is often called the Photoshop of audio, and this is one way that would take it to the next level for me for sure. And tons of users, practically everyone I've ever spoken to about RX, I always talk about this, and they all get excited about the prospect of it. So I highly recommend that we can get it implemented. So I'm in Photoshop right now, and if I go and hover over the clone stamp tool, it shows a little description and presentation of what the clone stamp tool is. And basically you're able to select an area of the image in Photoshop and with an offset, paint it into another portion of the image. And my wife, for example, as a photographer, uses this all the time when doing touch-ups on like faces. So if you've got a blemish or something here, grab another part of the face and just paint over it, and it looks very natural. So it'd be a way of making, fill, for example. You wouldn't do it with the whole spectrum, but in my case, certain surgical edits that I want to make. So if I select that here in Photoshop, and I go here, for example, there's this thump in this dialog that I have, and I want to grab just this portion over here of clean fill. I can select that by holding down the Alt button in Photoshop, and then when I go over here, it shows where I'm copying from with the crosshairs, and I can paint right over the offending frequencies. Same thing if I did it over here, it keeps that same offset that I had before. Now that would be super useful, especially when doing delicate and surgical edits. For example, if I right click in Photoshop, I can change the size and make it quite a small brush that I'm working with. So I do this all the time where I have these little hiccups or ticks or noises that are in dialogue that I want to get rid of. And I'll show you how I have to do it in RX, but ideally I would have the clone stamp tool to be able to just paint it very quickly. So again, I want this portion of my fill, which is nice and clean, and if I come here, I just want to paint over these little issues that are below, in between the harmonics of my dialogue. And you can see where I'm pulling it from, and it just makes very quick work of cleaning out some of these offending frequencies. So for example, if I wanted this area up here to get cleaned out and replaced by something over here or something way over here, I could holding down Alt, select that. I'll make my brush a little bit larger, and let's just say I want to clean out this sibilance and replace it with that fill. Obviously I probably wouldn't do that in this case, but just as a proof of concept, you can see on the right hand side is where I'm grabbing information from, and I'm pasting it to the left hand side. Now if I go into RX, if I was trying to do these same things in RX, how I would do it now would use the lasso tool to kind of select the area, go over to where I want to grab it from, copy, and paste. And that's fine for something like that, but for like these frequencies that I was working on earlier, trying to get into these areas where I'm working in between harmonics of other things, I have to go and select this, and then I have to go find an area, but the problem is it can be offset, it can move around on me. So I have to be very careful about, I want this, and I want to grab from here, copy, and I have to go back and click and paste. And see, I was off by a little bit, so it's very easy to mess it up, basically. So say I wanted to grab this portion. If I accidentally grab from up here, when I come back to paste it, it goes where I don't want it to go. So same thing, this section up here, I only want to overwrite this section. I want to replace it with some clean stuff from over here. If I do that, see, I messed that up somehow. So I want it to be this size. So I'm going to take that, move it over to the portion I want to grab the fill from, come back, paste. That works, but again, when you're dealing, like when I'm dealing with multiple instances, to have to go back and forth is very cumbersome and slow. Whereas if I just had a clone stamp tool, I could easily copy and paste stuff from all over and it would make short work of it. So I hope we can get that implemented. Thanks so much.